What is up? And welcome to another episode of Worship Based Coffee, the podcast. I cannot believe that we are on episode 4 here. It's just amazing that this is moving along like it is. So anyway, today I have a very special guest with me, good friend of mine. His name's Brandon Robold. He is currently on tour and been the bassist for several years with Zach Williams. He's a music MD as well. Anyway, let's get to it. What's up? How's it
What's
going,
up?
Brandon?
Good, Jay. How are you, man?
Doing good. For those of you, if you don't know, this is a friend of mine and bassist, Brandon Robold. Welcome to the Worship Based Coffee podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. It's gonna be fun.
Heck yeah. So what have you been doing today?
Today I had a closing.
Nice.
We may talk about it, but I'm also a realtor. But so I had a closing this morning, and then just catching up on some work, and then taking my son to a karate lesson later. So not too much. It wasn't too much of a busy day.
That's good. Yeah. With kids, it's always that way. Running one here, running one there. With my daughter, we were like, let's just have like one thing and let that be your, right for this semester. And then the next semester, if you want something, because otherwise it'd be like, do we even live at our home other than to sleep?
Yeah. Most of the time I feel like a Uber driver for my kids.
Yeah.
We got to do the same thing. We're like, all right, you get to pick like one musical thing and like one sporty thing. And like, that's it.
Right.
Nothing else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I just thought we'd kind of kick things off here. So I thought I would start out by asking you like where you grew up and like how you got into music.
Yeah. So I grew up in Maryland, Frederick, Maryland, born in Virginia, but lived there just for a short time. So really I grew up in Maryland, and that's where my whole family still is. And my parents were musical, and my mom sang. My dad played guitar, and they both kind of led worship some in church. So I was kind of always around it. So I got started, somewhat young. I think I was around 12 when, I told my dad I think I want to, start playing guitar. It was actually guitar first. It was acoustic. And so I was like, here's a guitar, here's a chord book, go learn these chords. I was like, okay. And I was fired up. So I went to my room and practiced for a few weeks, and I came back. I was like, okay, what's next? And he was like, you need to learn all the chords from that book. And I said, I did. He was like, you learned them all? I was like, yeah. And so he was like, it kind of moved in, and then shortly after that, I think I did guitar for like, I don't know, a few months, maybe 6 months or so. And then how I got into bass was, it happens to some of us, I guess, was a girl. So at 13 years old, there was this girl in middle school that I liked, right? And so I poured out my heart to her, right? Told her, gave her all my, told her my feelings and blah, blah. Totally just like had nothing to do with me. She was like, no, I'm good. Realized she liked the guy at church, and he was a bass player.
Uh-oh.
And I said, well, gosh darn it, I am going to start playing bass. And that's literally why I started playing bass for the first time.
That's amazing.
So, whatever gets you there, right? So, started learning bass, but the first time I really started, paying attention to bass and music, I fell in love with it. Just the feel and the low end and the rhythm. I loved it. And actually one of the first things that comes to mind where I like bass really stuck out was, I don't know if you remember Ron Canoli back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he had a song, Blessing and Honor, right? Blessing and honor, glory and power. Yeah. So there's a live version of that the whole band traded solos, right? So there was like perk solo, and there's a flute solo, and then there's a bass solo. And I found out years later it's Abraham Laboriel playing bass on that track, and just this crazy bass solo and slap and double stops. And I was like, what the heck is this? And so that was really what I was like, okay, I love this. So started playing in church a lot. My first time playing on a stage was in my church, and of course nervous wreck, but I had a lot.
Was that
awesome...
Sunday morning, or was it like youth group or?
Yeah, Sunday morning.
Okay.
Was actually acoustic first. That was my first time.
Okay.
And you know, they just threw me up there. You know, the worship pastor was like, "Yeah, you can come and play." I don't even know if I was plugged in or in the house. I don't even know. It probably wasn't.
Yeah.
But you know, they threw me up there and just to get that experience.
Sure.
And so I, you know, played that, and then slowly kind of worked my way into youth group and more on Sunday mornings and playing bass. And was probably around, like, I kind of did both bass and guitar for a while, but probably around 14, 15 years old is when I really just fell into bass and absolutely loved it.
So besides the reference that you gave as far as like influence, has there been like anybody specifically like over the years that have kind of like, you know, or especially younger that kind of influenced you, like maybe a certain band or anything like that that kind of influenced your?
I was kind of all over the place. I mean,
That's awesome.
I was in high school, middle school, high school. I was a big Dave Matthews fan.
Oh,
so like the whole jam band thing. I mean, I was super into it. I had I took lessons for about 2 years. For the most part, I was self-taught and, you know, and all that, but took lessons from an awesome teacher for about maybe almost 3 years. He taught me theory. I mean, he was awesome. And he was the one who introduced me to Victor Wooten.
Oh.
And of course, my mind was blown when that happened.
Yeah.
So then I wanted to learn everything he was doing.
Quit.
Yeah. I was like, okay, I'm done. Sell my bases.
After watching Victor, you know.
Gosh. But you know, like I was watching things I would never even imagine you could do on an instrument, right? So but I mean, that got me into like flecktones and you know, all of that. And so I mean, I loved all that type of stuff. I was a big nerd when it came to that.
That's awesome.
But you know, I also loved all like, you know, the stuff that was 90s and 2000s, like Third Eye Blind and Goo Goo Dolls and like all that stuff. So like some of the first records I sat down and learned, I mean, I would just go to my room, put in like 3 a.m., you know, Matchbox 20 and just like play that whole record and just learn the whole thing.
That's amazing.
And just try to learn every part, you know? And so I feel like that really like helped form like my, you know, it's good ear training and just, you know, I love that. But I mean, a lot of those guys like Marcus Miller, big Marcus Miller fan, because I didn't really know it at the time, but like Vertical Horizon, you know, Sean Hurley, massive Sean Hurley fan. So I didn't realize that was him back then when I was, you know, listening to it. But he's a big one, I would say. There's a lot.
Yeah. Oh, same for me. Like I was trying to go down the list, and you know, obviously, like most people, the people that influence me the most are, you know, some of the same that have been for other people. But like Pino, just like his tone, and then of course Adam Clayton from U2. He's like one of my absolute favorites for sure.
Yeah, he was the king of like the most simple bass lines.
I know,
but exactly what it needed to be.
Right.
Perfect.
Yeah. I kind of talked about that in the very first podcast episode, was just how like U2 was kind of like U2 and Coldplay jokingly are kind of like the godfathers of worship band, you know,
totally
worship music.
Yeah.
Because
eighth note delay, eighth notes. And
I know. I mean, you think about like on Sunday mornings, if that is not the most perfect representation of the Edge, you know, like there's so many times where I'm there and I'll look over at the guitar set. I'm like, gosh, that literally sounds just like the Edge. But I mean, it's just kind of what directed and formed that, and the same for Adam and what he was doing. But it's so much more, even though it sounds simple. So, but I remember you actually didn't you go to college in West Virginia? Isn't it West Virginia?
Virginia.
Virginia.
Yeah. So I went to Liberty. Yeah, so I was big into basketball in high school and music. So I was kind of like did both and struggling with, do I want to pursue basketball? Do I want to pursue music? And you know, I met with the guys at Liberty and decided I want to kind of go that route. And I figured I could probably use music for a lot longer in my life that I could, you know, if I went to play some D3 school in basketball in college, and then it's, you know, done. So I decided to, you know, I went to Liberty, and at the time they have several scholarship teams that you have to try out for. And so thankfully I made one of those, and I was traveling every weekend. I wasn't on there my freshman year. There wasn't a spot, but then I got on my sophomore through senior year, and every weekend I would travel, and it kind of use it as a recruiting tool for the school. But yeah, we travel, we play in churches. We like our summer and Christmas breaks were cut short because we'd come back and rehearse and then go out for like a week or two before school started back.
Right.
So that was, I mean, it was really like my first touring experience.
Right.
But I was able to do it in college. And gosh, I just learned so much. I mean, musically, relationally, being on the road. And yeah, I mean, that was very formidable for me. And I ended
Yeah,
up,
for sure.
I was music major for a part of it, and I switched to business. But I was able to take all my theory classes and ear training classes and all that. So yeah, that's where I could really look back and see that like my musical ability really started to grow.
Yeah. Yeah, I can and for me the same thing, like I felt like I was kind of slowly going up, but like once I started, several years ago, well, it's been about 10 years that I started playing in that Beatles group, and, playing on the weekends constantly and playing all those tunes. That's where I really could see myself like jump
Right.
musically, getting to play out a lot.
Yeah, putting
Really
in the
like,
reps, and yeah, I mean, there's nothing like getting out there on stage and just playing, especially like I know some of the
yeah,
stuff you did are like 3-4 hour sets, and I mean, you're out
right.
there, like, yeah, you're gonna grow a lot.
I know. Yeah, or you're not, and then you won't be playing anymore.
Yeah, or you'll hate it.
Yeah. So you told me how you recently started y'all started going to a church and you got your official planning center notification.
Yes.
You're so excited.
It's been a while. I am so excited. Yeah, like, I mean, obviously, like, playing in church was the biggest part of my life growing up, and that's how I really started playing music. Youth group, church, college, and then out of college I moved to Arkansas, and that's where I lived for 10 years in Northwest Arkansas. Met my wife Joanna there, and we actually met. She's a singer, and so she was singing on the praise team, I was playing, and so that's how we first met. And then we served together in church for years. And then when I got the gig with Zach, and we moved here, we're kind of searching around for churches, and of course I was in and out, on the road, and it was just so hard to get plugged in. But I've always had that kind of missing, like, man, I just miss serving in church. I miss that community.
Yeah.
And so we finally, settled in a church that we've been going to for the last year and love it. And met with worship pastor, went to coffee and hung out, and kind of told him, that I want to get back into serving, and kind of told my heart around worship, and so yeah, so it's happening finally. So
all right, I love it.
So I'm really really excited to get back into it.
Yeah, heck yeah. Well, did you ever, like, at that church where you were kind of in it leading to, did you do bass sometimes, or were you mostly just acoustic guitar or leading
Growing
that
up?
way? Yeah.
Yeah, when I was growing, it kind of transitioned into bass, mostly. Yeah.
Okay,
And
so
I still
when
played
you were
every once in a while, but
when you were serving with your wife, were you playing bass then, or were
yeah,
you?
that was, well, I would say when I was like playing on Sundays, just playing at church,
Right.
it would be bass. Like I would say
Okay.
98% of the time.
Okay.
And then we actually started leading worship for our college and young singles ministry before we got married. And then once we got married, before the next guy kind of came up and took over, we did it together as a married couple for a
Okay.
little while. And that kind of switched between guitar and bass.
Nice.
I would say I prefer acoustic guitar when I'm leading worship over bass.
Yeah.
It's a little easier.
That's true. Trying to go Sting,
Yeah.
Well, one of the reasons why I was asking that is because I always like to ask, like, what is the like, how you prepare for a Sunday morning that you're serving, like, kind of what's your ritual of preparing,
Yeah. So, I usually start, get, the playing center invite, get the song list. I usually like to just listen first. So I'll be, driving around in my car, taking kids to activities or whatever we're doing. I like to listen to all the songs first, just like several times through, just like get a feel, especially if it's a song, like it's a newer song or song I'm not that
Right.
familiar with. Um, just kind of getting myself familiar with the song and, listening for the bass part, obviously, but like listening to all the parts and listening to see obviously what the drums are doing is, huge, but then also, where the keys and piano doing, what's the guitars doing, what's the vocals doing, and just kind of getting a general sense of that. And then I'll sit down with my actual bass in my hand and, and just kind of play through. And of course, usually you have the charts right there with you, but, I try to memorize, like some churches,
Yeah.
some churches force you to memorize, right? Like,
yeah,
ours
does that.
Yeah. Some, they're okay with the iPads right there in front of your face. And, I mean, it is what it is, either way.
Yeah.
I like memorizing it. And
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's good when a worship team, and you kind of have that where it's like, well, they're volunteers, so you can't force them
Sure.
necessarily to memorize it, but it's like, I feel like if you explain it well, like, and you get the heart around it, I mean, I just feel like memorizing the song helps you serve the song. You're not sitting there, with the crutch of a chart and looking at the chart, really just paying, what am I doing? What am I playing versus what is everybody else doing, And I mean, no matter what your position is, I mean, you're there on a Sunday morning to help support worship. Right. And so, whether you're a bass or, where I was a young kid playing acoustic guitar, probably not even plugged in, you're still there to like support the worship
Right.
leader and support the whole
Mm-hmm.
sense of worship. And so, the Holy Spirit and everything. That's why I feel like memorizing the music really frees
Yes.
you up to do that, your
Yeah.
best ability.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's basically the same kind of process that I do. One of the things that I have learned with myself is I try not to pull the chart up unless I absolutely have to. Like,
Yes.
maybe it just isn't set. I'm like, something like maybe they might be going to a 1/3 there instead of a 1. Let me
Mm-hmm.
just see, and I'll check the chart. But I usually try to just avoid looking at the chart completely, because I find if I sit down and just try to learn it by ear, there's something about the way that your brain and your fingers connect
Yes.
versus like looking at a chart, because
Right.
it's like you're hearing it and your hand is going to it, and it's like there's this
Yep. It
connection that
really
happens.
sinks in. Yeah.
Yeah, it really does. So that very similar to that. So when you were in, you said it was Arkansas, correct? Am I getting that right? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
How did you get the what do you call it? The call, so to speak, or opportunity to try out for Zach?
Yeah. So I I moved there in 2008 to Arkansas, and I worked for the church where I was at, and went there as an intern, and then they hired me on. Met my wife at the time, so I was also helped me stay and plant roots there in Arkansas. Never thought I'd be in Arkansas, but ended up working at the church, and then went back and forth, like corporate world. Where I lived is like Rogers, Bentonville, Arkansas area. It's like Walmart country. So
Yeah.
a lot of like corporate opportunities there. So I did a lot of that, went back to the church as a media director. And then my buddies and I decided we were going to put together a country band. And
Nice.
I was only doing music. I mean, I would do like, there's like some 80s cover bands and like some singer songwriter people I would play with in Arkansas and different things like that. But really it was just like occasionally playing out and then just playing at church. And then
That's
we decided
awesome.
to put together this country cover band. We all had jobs, and I was like, hey, they're like, it's Fayetteville was 20 minutes south where the University of Arkansas was at, and was like, there's an opportunity to just go out and make some extra money and have fun and play some covers and whatever. So we started this band called Backroad Anthem, and then very country name, I know. And and
very
then
Jason Aldean sounds to it there.
And then we started writing songs and started writing originals, and it kind of took off, and we started getting these. There's a local promoter in that town that started hooking us up with some direct support slots, opening for tons of different country artists when they came through Fayetteville or close areas. And a manager saw us and was like, do you guys have management yet? You want to come to Nashville? Or of course we were like, what? And so we came to Nashville. We all still lived in Arkansas, but we came to Nashville, met with him. He ended up signing us on. We got booking agency. And so it kind of was off to the races there, and we started writing more. And that turned into in this like little cover band turned into like a 5-year thing. And you know, it was of course, a lot of clubs, you know, a lot of clubs, a lot of bars, a lot of direct support,
a lot of sticky floors,
a lot of really bad sound systems. You know, we're setting everything up, of course, ourselves. And, you know, I was like audio guy. So I'm over there like getting everybody's audio set and then going on stage and playing and like, it was crazy. But we were grinding, you know, 6 guys in a Suburban and pulling a trailer. And, you know, then we kind of graduated to a Sprinter van. We thought we'd made it, you know, and, but I mean, those were just some awesome times where we learned so much. And, about 4-ish years into that, our lead singer, went hunting and ended up dying in a hunting accident and rocked our world. And, this is like a brother of ours, you know, that we've been traveling with for 4 years. And so that kind of really put a wrench in everything. And we were talking to Universal, we were talking to some labels and like, you know, thinking, oh, we're going to make it, you know, and then that happens. And we're like, what in the world? And we had a guitar player that had a great voice who could still sing. So we still kept going for a little bit after that, after taking a little bit of time off. But I could just really see that like, it may not be going to where it was going to go before. And for me personally, I had we have 3 kids. I had our 2 oldest at that point. And, you know, I was just done with the clubs and the bars and being in that scene. And like, I just wanted my kids to be proud of where I was playing and what I was playing. And, you know, I wanted to be able to come see me at a show, right? Come watch daddy play on stage, you know? And so they couldn't really do that at that point, you know, for most of them. And so, you know, I told Joanna, my wife, I was like, if I ever get an opportunity to play in a Christian world, you know, I will take it, you know? And so, but at that point there was no opportunity. And so I went back, I was on Indeed, I was searching jobs, going back to corporate world, like, hey, we gave it our all. Like I did it. At least I can move forward saying I tried to do music full time and gave it my all. Right. And was kind of at the verge of giving it up. And then a buddy of mine, Keith Smith, shout out to Keith Smith. Great dude. He plays for Toby Mac.
It's funny. I actually know him too, which was funny because when I first got back into the church world, I was at Fellowship Bible Church and he was there. And that was where I got my first taste of like live MD. So he would play the keys, and instead of you listening to the little, you know, Ableton cue going into the chorus or whatever, instead he was doing live EQing, and I was just like, it was like mind blown. I was like, we need to do this every Sunday. I was like, this is so much better because he would just
freeze you up.
Yeah, and when somebody's good, like he was, just at saying things at the right moment. And it just, it really did. It freed you up. So anyway, just short thing there that I knew him too. So
yes, Keith's awesome. Everybody knows Keith.
Yes,
Keith's exactly. The connector.
Yeah.
So I mean, to prove that, so we went to college together for, I think we were only at Liberty. He went to Liberty as well, but we were there from a year or maybe 2 years. But anyway, we kind of were in the same circles, knew of each other. He came to the church in Arkansas a couple years prior to me kind of getting, you know, starting to look for other things, to produce a live record for our church in Arkansas. So that's where we kind of like rekindled our friendship and reconnected. And then every time I would go to Nashville, especially when I kind of knew that we were like kind of ending the band and all that, or was looking for other things, I would meet with just people that I knew in the industry and in the area. And so, you know, so he was one of them. So we went to coffee a couple different times, and so he texted me, you know, so back now, you know, so now I'm searching for jobs. I thought music was over for me from a professional sense, touring sense. And, you know, he texted me out of the blue and was like, hey man, there's this new artist. His first single just went #1. let me know if you're interested. He's looking to put together a band, and they're going to be doing, auditions. And at this time I was still in country world. Like I rarely listened to any listen to like worship stuff, but like I didn't really listen to much CCM. So I was like, who the heck is Zach Williams? I had no idea who this dude was.
Right.
But I looked him up, and of course, being in the country world and like loving that, his sound is very country, very Southern rock, Allman Brothers, Bob Seger. Like it's great. And so I loved his sound, and I was like, man, this guy's really good. And so Joanna and I talked about it. We prayed about it, and we were like, okay, are we doing this again? But we're like, okay, well, we always said if I could do it in the Christian world, we do it. It's like, maybe this is the opportunity God's given us. And so I decided to audition and send in, resume, music resume and some videos of some of his songs of me playing them. And then a few weeks later, they called me in for the audition. So I came up to Nashville and auditioned that day. And
by the way, I'm just curious because I've never been on any kind of an audition before, like anything like that. I auditioned for like worship, for Sunday mornings, especially here in Nashville. But I'm just curious, what was that like?
Yeah. So a lot of times like there's a band already there, right? So like you might be like the band, like, oh, the guitar player left and now we need to audition a new guitar player. So the band's there. Well, this is like, there's no band yet. And so it was brand new. I mean, he did a few tours before, like Tomlin and Big Daddy Wee, but like he would just have those bands support him for a few songs. Right. So this was brand new. And so I walk in, and it was at one of the rehearsal spaces there in Soundcheck. So like there's a little makeshift stage, and it is Zach, his manager, and a camera guy. And on stage was a microphone and a wedge. And that was it. And so I was just up there by myself, like playing. And I was like, do I show like stage presence? Do I like what do I even do right now? It was, to be honest, super awkward. But I was just like, all right, I'm just gonna get up there and play. And I sang background vocals too, and like just do it. And so they just played the track, and I just played along to the recording, and super awkward. But then they called me back that day.
I love hearing that. That was so funny.
Yeah, because you think you're gonna walk in and it's just gonna be like, there's the band and like this setting. Nope.
Yeah.
Just me and a wedge playing to three dudes.
I love it.
Yeah. So it was great. And like so I got the gig that day, and then for about a year and a half I still lived in Arkansas. So I was traveling back and forth, the bus call, and about 7.5 hours, 8 hours one way. And I would drive in on a Wednesday night, hop on the bus, we'd play our shows, and Sunday or Monday, whenever we got back, I'd get in the car at 7 or 8 in the morning and then drive all the way back, and did that for a year and a half.
Which is what, 8 hours? Is it?
Yeah, 8 hours one way. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I rode off a lot of miles that year. It was crazy.
That's crazy.
But yeah, eventually, my wife ended up finding a job here. We found our house, sold our house in Arkansas, and her family was like a mile down the road from us in Arkansas. So it was tough. We were very plugged into our church. So it was a big move. I mean, it was a very, very big move, step of faith. And so, but yeah, it's worked out. And I mean, I've been with him now for 8 years, a little over 8 years.
That's wild. That's amazing. Yeah. It's funny because I want to say right around that time is kind of when I met you. We became Instagram friends. Insta friends.
Yep. Insta friends talking about bass gear.
Yeah. Well, we had, very similar pedal boards, similar basses, all that kind of stuff. And plus I'll never forget this. And you obviously won't remember this, but like at the time I was like, wow, but I remember it's like I had very shortly just become friends with you, like on Facebook. And my birthday came up and you like hopped on and said, hey, happy birthday, Jay. And I was like, wow, that's really, really cool that this guy is a touring musician and he hopped on and said, happy birthday.
Oh yeah. And I was thank you, Facebook, for letting me know.
That's exactly. Thanks to Facebook. But at the time I was like, that's really cool, And so, but it's just kind of funny then, how things progress. Like, when you moved here, and then we were like, hey, let's grab some coffee, hang out. And so it was cool. And then I remember one year how you had a issue with your bass, and it just so happened that I was like had almost an identical bass, and you were like, bro, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I was like, dude, take mine.
Yeah.
So
It might have even, I think I've borrowed gear from you multiple times. Like there was
well,
probably a time I think where like my pedal board was still on the road and like something came up
the
and
very back.
I was like, dude, can I borrow, like you said, like we have very similar like
Right.
pedal boards and gear and ears for that. And so I was just like, dude, can I please borrow your stuff? Like I'm in a pinch. Oh yeah, anytime, man. Yeah, come over and grab it. I was like, yeah. So I appreciate you saving my butt time or two.
Yeah. That was just kind of funny how that happened. But I get it because, you know, you guys, when you have your stuff and you're kind of like on tour and you're touring, then stopping and tour, it's either going to be on a truck packed all the way in, or it's going to be in storage packed all the way in. And unless you're Spider-Man, you're not getting to your stuff. So one of the other things I was going to ask you, so when you first started, how long was it before you transitioned into that like MD role?
Yeah. It was fairly quick. College, you know, and then in like when I started playing in Arkansas as well, I kind of naturally fell into that like kind of band leader MD role. And when I was in Arkansas, one of my first jobs there at the church was I was kind of like under the worship leader and band leader guys. And so I learned a lot from that band leader at the time about how to lead a band, how to prep for Sunday and, you know, prep songs, rehearse a band, you know, things like that. And so I got a lot of experience, you know, from there and doing that. And then of course, you know, then when I started leading worship for the college young singles ministry, then, you know, I got a lot of experience then. And then the country band, I kind of was in that role as well. So I was kind of already doing that role with Backroad Anthem as that MD band leader guy. And then, so it kind of just naturally like fell into that. I would say, I mean, the guys in the band, I mean, are so stinking good. Like they make my job extremely easy. Right. It's like, you know, I mean, I am giving direction but they're so good and so talented. I mean, there's not, you know, it's not like I have to like teach them their part or anything. Right. So it's like, you know, it's more just like, it's a lot of collaboration, especially in our band. We're very collaborative, which I love. Yeah. And so it's only kind of like if I have more organization and things like that, in the MD role. And there's obviously a lot of stuff that I do, but, like I said, they just make my job really easy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, just the couple, you know, I've got to see y'all perform live, and then to like, you know, watching YouTube videos, obviously. Is Nick still playing with y'all too? Yeah. Dude, phenomenal. His tone is so good.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
It's like literally is perfect for what he's playing. Yes. I mean, I know he does other, you know, projects and stuff too, but like listening to it, I'm just like, you can't put together a better tone for that.
He's phenomenal. Yeah. And he started when I did too. So he and I are the two originals.
Yeah.
In the band that started back in 2017. And then everybody else kind of trickled in after that. But yeah, I mean, Nick's incredible. But yeah.
That's so over, you know, saying that y'all were together like that over the years, is there like a show or a moment, like standout moment, or maybe even a venue that is like memorable that you can think of?
Man, there's a lot. I would say my favorite venue that we play has to be Red Rocks.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Have you been there?
No, I haven't.
Okay,
I'd love to
you
get to go
have
there.
to go. I mean, it's so beautiful, and I mean, there's just nothing like it.
Yeah.
So that'd probably be my favorite venue. We got to play the Beacon Theater in New York. We actually did a like 2-night thing with Third Day a couple years ago when they came back for like a little like reunion thing, and they're coming back again.
Nice.
In the spring, and we're going to be on tour with them, which is awesome.
That's
my younger self, you know, is kind of freaking out.
Yeah.
But yes, that was an awesome venue. You know, that was one where like the Allman Brothers had a residency there, basically. I mean, everybody can think of's been there. Of course, like the Ryman and all those, like, I love all those historical venues, you know, where you can walk through, but like man,
Mm-hmm.
every band or artist I love or, you know, you can imagine has been there.
I know.
Um,
Well,
one of like the
especially
most, sorry,
you were talking about Red Rocks. Isn't there like this hall where like
yeah,
everybody has kind of like
the
signed?
sign wall. Yeah. It
Yeah,
was awesome. I
that's
mean,
amazing.
you walk through there and you try to pick out everybody's name, you know, and it's like, oh, there's John Mayer's signature, you know, and like, I mean, just literally anybody you can imagine.
Right. That's incredible.
So cool.
Well,
Yeah.
go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
Very good. Yeah. So, I mean, one of the most like profound or like experiences, and I mean, I know some of the other guys and even Zach himself talks about it too. Like, so we were able to do a live, kind of stripped down acoustic record at Harding Prison,
Mm,
in
that's
Nashville.
right.
And so we worked with a ministry that works with the prison, and so they got us in, and we set up, brought a camera crew, and recorded a live record there, and that was just absolutely incredible. Like just to be in there, see those guys, you know, some of them were, I would say a lot of them were believers, you know, had kind of been working with this ministry, but you know, a lot of them weren't. Um, but to see like the life change of a lot of these men and be able to talk
Yeah.
to them and all that. I remember I think we did like maybe 5 or 6 songs, and we played through it, and we did it, you know, and it was good. You know, if we needed another take, we could do it. They told us in the beginning, you know, we could do it a couple times if we need to, since it was for a
Yeah.
record. But we went to the back and we're like, okay, like I think it was great. And Zach was like, man, could we do it again? And I want to go talk to these guys. And he went out, you know, because you could tell, like, you know, there's cameras, and you know, and they're kind
Yeah.
of just like, what do I do? And he went back out there and basically like just told him like, hey guys, like we are here. Like, I know we're recording. I know it's kind of weird with cameras, but like, don't worry about that. We're going to do this again. And he was like, I want to do this again. And this time, I don't want you to even think about the cameras. I just want you to worship. I want you to this is church, you know, and basically just encourage them in that way.
Yeah.
And we redid it again. And it was just the most powerful thing.
That's amazing.
One of the most powerful things we've ever done as a band, for sure. You know, and obviously, like, you know, being obviously, you know, we're Christian, we're believers, we're a Christian band, he's a Christian artist, but you know, it's still like concerts, right?
Sure.
It's a little different
Yeah,
than Sunday morning where
performance.
it's like,
Yeah.
right, where it's worship, and there has, you know, should and definitely be excellence in that area too. But, you know, it's a little different. And so there's not always those like just powerful worship moments, especially like for us, you know,
Sure.
I mean, you know, for the people in the crowd and all that, I know it happens a lot more, but you know, for us,
Yeah.
we're doing the same thing every night.
True.
And we try to keep it fresh and all that. But whenever that happens where you can really just feel like either like just the Holy Spirit or just that powerful worship moment, and for us, I mean, those are the times that like really stick out.
Yeah.
And are awesome. And it's like, okay, yeah, that's why we do this.
Yeah.
Like this is why we leave our families and get on the road and
go on the road.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, like music's
Yeah.
awesome and we love playing, and that's great, but this is why we do it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, and I can attest to the being in the crowd side of it, that like when I did get to see you, that it did feel that way for me in the crowd. Like even, you know, my daughter came too, which she's always been a huge Zach fan. And, always like I would go in her bedroom and she'd be in there listening to, you know, the CD that I think it was either a CD or maybe just listening to Spotify. I don't know, but she'd be listening to those songs over and over again. And so like sitting in that, I mean, it's definitely, I feel like Zach definitely, is ordained, because you can sense the Holy Spirit, and even with it being repetitious, you can sense that sincerity, you know, of that focus. So that's really cool.
Yeah,
So
I appreciate that, man.
yeah. And it was fun. I mean, I enjoyed it for sure. I'll just never forget. So my daughter hadn't been to a lot of like bigger shows like that. And I'll never forget because We the Kingdom was playing. Well, before them was Kane. Well, Kane's just was that 3-piece, you know, just with an acoustic, you know, 3 people singing. So then We the Kingdom comes out, and the very first song, and you know how their drummer plays.
Yeah.
and that kick drum
He goes
hit,
all out.
and it was just like this boom. Like, I'll never forget her going and like this with her eyes bugging out, and she was like, "That's awesome."
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, like I was like, "This is what live music sounds like."
Yep.
So
They put on a good show too.
Yeah.
Gosh, they're so
Oh,
good.
yeah.
They have so much energy.
Oh, I know. It's insane. So yeah, that was just, I'll never forget a proud dad moment when she was like, just like, wow.
This is awesome.
Yeah. Well, one of the things of course, it's my favorite part to get into is talking about gear, bass gear. So, one of the things I wanted to ask you, first of all, I had to say this, like listening through, because, I always forget that you played in Backroad Anthem, and I had listened to it years ago, but just recently listened through it again.
Gosh.
And dude, I got to tell you this, seriously. I was telling my wife this because I was playing it one day when we were like driving to our coffee date, and I was just like listening going, oh my good. I was like, Brandon's tone is like ridiculous. Like,
thanks,
seriously, like listening to it, it just, and I was like, I was going to ask you if it was that, wasn't it a Sadowski?
Yeah.
PJ?
Yep.
Is that what you were playing
PJ5,
in that?
Yeah.
The
a
one
lot of it was, I had an old, P bass at that time. I think I was playing, not the one I have now, but, I had a P bass, but I think most of those tracks were, it was the Sadowski PJ5 that I had actually I bought from Tully Kennedy, who is Jason Aldean's bass player. You know, he's like Mr. Sadowski. I mean, like that's like all he plays. And he's like the big PJ5 guy. That's what he plays. And so I bought that from him off a talk bass and didn't even know who he was at the time and just saw that he was selling one. I heard awesome things about it. And so I snagged it, and he called me actually to like tell me about the bass, and he was like, "Can I have your number so I can call you and talk to you about it?" I was like, "Sure." And so he's like, "Yeah, I play with an artist, country artist. I don't know if you've heard of him, Jason Aldean." He was like super humble about it. I was like, "Okay, yeah, like such a good dude, man." But that is, I say it to this day, that is the only bass I regret selling. The only one. I've bought and sold so many basses and gear over the years, and that is the only one I look back on. I'm like, dang it. Like at some point I'm going to hit him up and be like, dude, are you selling anymore? Like I'm going to buy one. Yeah. Yeah. But no, I appreciate it, man. Yeah. Those are some fun times, fun records.
That's awesome. Well, what is your like current rig right now, like that you're playing with Zach? I know you joked with me the other day when I was like, I mentioned something. I'm like, we need some pedal board pictures. And you're like, just look at 5 years ago. It's the exact same.
So true. So I did go through a period, I say period, it was probably, 20 years of like, I would buy and sell so much gear, and I would just buy this pedal and try it out. And then I would sell it and then buy another one and buy another. And so I got to the point where I don't know if you call it burned out by it or I don't know, but I was just like, okay. And so, my setup has been the same for, probably 4 years since I got the Stomp. Probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 years. Basses have kind of switched here and there, but so my main two, I would say, that I play is I have a 66 P bass.
Yep.
That's all original. I had to change the nut on it just because it was like worn out. But other than that, full, completely original. With rounds, old rounds too. Like, I probably should change them at some point, but like, I just don't like the sound of like brand new rounds. I do the Sean Hurley trick, shot like with the Vaseline. Oh yeah, that works great. So I do that with all my strings, like whether it's rounds or flats. But then I have that, and then I have a Sean Hurley custom shop
nice
P bass that I keep flats on, and those haven't been changed for. I don't even know. I'll never change them unless one breaks. Like better the better. And then I usually have a 5-string. I like having a 5-string out, and that's kind of changed. Like, I I have like a 5-string Ultra, Fender Ultra.
Yeah.
Pretty much all Fenders. So I love that bass. But currently my 5-string I have out right now is a PJ with a 5-string PJ, right? But, Fender doesn't make one.
Right.
So what we did was we took a 5-string P, and Tim Shaw, which is, he's the guy who basically built all the Fender's pickups. Over at Fender, he routed me out a J in that bass. And I was over at the Fender shop in Nashville and talked with those guys. And I was like, man, I miss that PJ sound. Like we said, like the Sadowski. I was like, I miss that PJ sound. But I've been telling them for like 2 years now. I was like, y'all need to make a 5-string PJ. And so I was like, man, what if we just took a 5-string P and just put a J pickup in there?
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah. So he got Tim Shaw himself and was like, he came up and looked at it. He's like, yeah, I think I could do that pretty easy, and stuck one of his Cobalt. Those like his newer pickups he's been wiring up. Stuck a Cobalt J in the bridge. And so now, I kind of, depending on the song, I have the J up, or sometimes I just roll it off and just have the P bass tone with the 5-string, but I love it. And awesome. It's really cool bass. And I guess kind of one of a kind, like, I don't know, but
since they're not,
yeah,
can't get it like that.
Yeah.
At least not in a 5-string. 4 strings, they have,
they have the PJ,
but not in a 5.
Yeah. I don't know why.
It's crazy. And that you play rounds on that one.
Yes. Yep. Rounds on that one. Yep.
Nice.
And then I play Aguilar amps. I've been playing their stuff for forever.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's for your live backline.
Yep. Yeah. DB750 and then 2 410s.
Okay.
I don't mic them.
It's just
for stage noise and for feel.
Yeah.
Zach likes having a little bit of that feel on stage as well behind him. So
because you can't always feel the subs on certain stages. You just
depending on the venue.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it's great, sometimes it's so
yeah.
I like having that there. And then for pedal board, I run it pretty simple. Like I have 2 lines. I have a clean line that is literally just my Cali 76 compressor, and then straight into the Noble. Absolutely love Noble DI. Super clean. So that's my clean line, and that goes straight to front of house. And then my kind of like amp or dirty line, whatever you would want to call it, is I just use the HX Stomp.
That's awesome.
There's sometimes where I do miss certain pedals and different things. I'm like, maybe I should bring some back. But I've spent a lot of time on it, kind of dialed in some good presets and tones, and kind of picked other bass players' brains. And I know we've talked about it a lot. And as far as presets go and things like that. So I kind of have my like little pedal board set up in my HX Stomp that I use for, overdrive or distortion or octave. There's a couple songs where there's a little bit of chorus on there, but for Zach's stuff, mostly it's just, overdrive, distortion, octave. That's mostly what I use for him. But,
that's awesome.
Yeah. And then I have a Moog.
That's right.
Sub Fatty as well.
That's
that I play on some stuff.
Well, I want to tell anybody who wants to be able to hear some of it, if they look up Brandon Robold and put like bass cam after it, there's still some of your bass cam videos out there.
Oh yeah.
And
I haven't done any of those in forever. I need to do some more.
I know. Yeah. I would love it to see it myself. But if you look that up on YouTube, you get to hear a couple of soloed bass sound, and it sounds amazing, of course, with your tone. So, and I think that was actually when you were using the Aguilar Optimizer at the time, and you would kick that on. So, really get some
that's a cool pedal.
Some low notes. So, one of the things I love talking about gear. Obviously, I could talk forever on that, but we had kind of talked about it a little bit at the top about how, your roles now, like as far as obviously doing music, and obviously you're wearing a lot of hats, MD, dad, and now also realtor.
Yes.
talk a little bit about that. Like how did you kind of come across that, doing
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. So I've I've kind of over the years really liked real estate. I like, the idea of it, and had a lot of friends who are in it or investors and things like that. And so it's always kind of been something in the back of my mind that like, man, maybe I should do that. And then I would always, I don't, I don't have the time, or I don't want to put in the money to do it, or, whatever. Well, then COVID hit, and, we stopped touring, and I was like, well, all my excuses just went out the window, because
Right.
we're not touring. I have a lot of time, and, more money would be great right now. And so, I decided to
Yeah.
do it. Of course, all the schools were shut down. And so I did it all online and
Nice.
knocked it out. I mean, that's all I did all day. Um, I would go like in the morning until like 3 or 4, be with kids, put them to bed, go straight back upstairs to the office and do more school, and knocked it out. I think I did it in it was just over 2 weeks. I did all my schooling for the license, and then went and took the test. Got licensed in October of 2020. Um, and yeah, and so I've just been kind of doing that as like I mean, you can call it side hustle if you want, but like, I feel like
Sure.
it's kind of full time all the time. But,
Right.
um, yeah, it's such a good compliment to what I do, because, obviously my schedule is very flexible, when I'm home.
Hmm.
And even on the road, it's pretty flexible, other than like sound check, we're pretty free all day. And so, I kind of can do it when I want, how I want. And, when I'm home, I can do it while the kids are at school, but then I can still be available to take them to school, pick them up, be at activities, and be dad
Right.
when I need to.
Yeah. And then your wife is actually doing it as well, isn't she?
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
she's had
So
her license again for about the same amount of time I have. So that helps too. Like if I'm on the road and there's somebody
yeah.
that, I have to see this house, and, we can't schedule it from when I'm home, she can help cover
Yeah.
and show houses for me, or, and do that. So yeah,
Well,
she's way
too,
smarter
and
than I am. So
especially like with your kids too, for her, that makes it, since if you're on the road and she doesn't necessarily have you there, then, with her schedule, it makes it a little bit easier for her to pick up the kids, all that kind of stuff too.
yep,
So that's
exactly.
awesome.
Yeah.
Uh, so how do you think that like complements you know, your music, doing music? How would you say?
Yeah. I mean, I kind of look at real estate and music both, like they're so relational, right? Like the music, life, business, whatever you want to call it, is a relational business. Like you're on stage for an hour and a half to 2 hours a night, right? um the rest of the time you are around people, you're hanging out, you know and it's all about relationships, even like getting into it and finding that gig, or
Right.
connecting with people. I mean, it's so relational, and I feel like real estate's the same way. Is real estate sales? Sure, you can look at it as a sales, but like I
Sure.
look at it as like a service industry, right? I'm there
Yeah.
to serve you, not there to force you to do anything you don't want to do. I'm there just to help serve, and give advice,
Yeah.
and then and advise you through the process. So it's a very relational business. So I feel like both complement each other in that way.
Yeah.
I don't do any like cold calling or anything like that. I mean, it's all friends, referrals from friends, family
Right.
members. Like the one I closed on today, I sold their parents their house. Actually, the son is a guitar tech on the road who I
Okay,
met,
nice.
introduced me to his parents. I closed on their house a couple months ago, and then their daughter and son-in-law moved, and then I just closed on their house today. So like, it's a lot of that.
Sure.
And that's how I love it, because like I'm not in here to be a sales guy. I'm in here to like
Yeah.
help people. Um, so it's really good for that. But and then of course, just time wise, it's just a great
Yeah.
complement to my touring schedule. Like I
Yeah,
said
for
before, we
sure.
can do it however as much or as little as I need to, and I can really dig in if I know we're going to be off the road for a month or two, or just kind of pull back. So yeah, I love
That's
it.
awesome. I love it. Well, as we're kind of transitioning towards the end here, one of the things I wanted to ask is, as far as like to the worship community, if there's one thing that you could give, like as a piece of advice, like to anybody who's either just starting or maybe even somebody who's been playing for a while, what's the one thing like that you think is an important thing to learn for worship playing on Sunday mornings?
Yeah. That's a good question. I would say, what I would say to bass players is stop thinking like a bass player. That's a little counterintuitive, but like,
Right.
you know, I think we kind of touched on it before, but especially for a Sunday morning and when you're leading worship, because I mean that's what we're doing, right? Even if bass player, drummer, keys, I don't care what you're doing, you are leading worship. It's not just the worship leader leading worship.
Yes.
And so, you know, I would say, you know, just from a musical standpoint, stop thinking just about being a bass player and think about the big picture. You know, listen to the drums, obviously, lock in with the kick, so important.
Right.
But listen to what the guitar players are doing. Listen to what the keys players are doing. Listen to what the leader and the praise team, or, you know, whoever's singing, when listen to what they're doing, and try to complement what they're doing as like a whole band. And as far as notes, phrasing, dynamics, I mean, you know, if you're just sitting back there worrying about your part and playing your part, you're missing so much, and you're missing the big picture, right? And then with that comes the freedom that we, as band guys and worship leaders on stage, it kind of gives that, you know, gives way to that freedom to be able for the Spirit to move and to lead people into that worship experience, which is, you know, why we're called up there to do that. So, yeah, I mean, you know, and I would just say, you know, it's your role is to not support yourself, right? I mean, your role is to support worship, to support the church, and
which would be the same in any situation if you're playing, you know, country like you were, or with Zach, you know, you have a role to play in that. You know,
and sometimes that role is dun 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 dun, right? Like that's your role, you know. If that's your role, own it and you know, kill it.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes your role is you can, you know, go past that 12th fret and do something fun.
Exactly.
You know, I probably do that too much, but you know, like sometimes that is your role, you know, but knowing when and where to do those things, and like, you know, we've talked about so much, like to be spicy, you know, and you know, there's times where that's cool and that's fun, but like, the majority of the time, the spiciness is not what, you know, your role is. Your role is to sit there, lay a foundation, and, you know, support the other members of the band, you know?
Yeah, 100%. Well, as we're wrapping up here, we're coming to my favorite part. This is something that I was like, you know what? I need to make this like a regular thing with everybody, just because I think it's fun to do, and that is the rapid fire. So we're just going to go rapid fire on these questions here.
Okay.
So starting off, it is flats or rounds?
Old rounds.
Nice. And your favorite brand of those?
I play Ernie balls.
Nice.
I love Ernie Ball. I've been playing their strings forever.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Yeah. I've always been a labella, and the specifically the low tension ones, flats.
The flats,
man, they're great. So
they're
all
awesome.
right, P bass or jazz bass?
P bass all day.
Nice. Yes, that would be mine. Although lately, and in the last episode, we were joking about it, how they couldn't believe they've been seeing me play jazz bass more than any bass.
I haven't seen you play a lot of jazz bass.
I know, which
kind of threw me off.
Really something's going on here.
I mean, I do love a good jazz bass.
Yeah.
Like, and I keep seeing them on Reverb and Top Bass, like, you know, like old, like 64 and like 62 jazz bass. Like, oh my gosh, I would kill for one of those.
I know. The only thing that always makes me scared of those is their weight.
Yeah.
Especially as I get older, I'm just like, I can't have a heavy.
The back can't handle that anymore.
Yeah, no, I'm done with that. So like, I have a Paleo bass, and jazz bass, and that one I think weighs like 8 pounds 3 ounces. So I mean, perfect. It's money. It's Perfect weight. Let's see here. Okay, Desert Island Pedal. I think I know
Ooh,
what it is, but
noble.
I knew you were going to say that. Heck
Yep.
yeah. Yeah.
Noble all day.
Yeah. So like I have two pedal boards. One's like my worship pedal board, and then the other one is the one that I use when I play, other gigs and stuff. Like one that I was using all those years for the Beatles,
Yeah.
all that. And that's what I have my Noble on, because it's just such a perfect clean pedal. You can't go wrong with it at all.
Yep. Yeah. You can't overdrive that thing. It's just it
Yeah.
is super, super clean. I
Yeah,
absolutely love it.
it's
Yep.
awesome. Favorite bassist?
Man, that's so hard. That's changed over the years. I would say if I had to just encompass favorite of all time, I would say Pino
Nice.
and Sean Hurley.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think. I mean,
Yeah,
they're
the two
kind
of
of
them.
a little bit of the same vein, but and I know this is not really rapid, sorry, but I watched the Becoming Led Zeppelin. Have you watched that yet?
I haven't,
on
but I've
Netflix?
heard that it is
Oh,
really good.
It is so awesome. And it doesn't do that, it just kind of takes you from the beginning up to Led Zeppelin 2.
Yeah.
But I have like a newfound respect for John Paul Jones, and I've been going
Okay.
back and listening to a lot of that stuff, and the stuff he was doing and the melodic way he was playing and supporting that when, it's just basically three guys, well, 4 guys with Barbara playing, but 3 band guys,
Yeah.
incredible. So he's kind of up there for me now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have watched the the Beatles Get Back, that whole series. That's amazing. Obviously,
so
as
good.
a Beatles player, that I was like, well, I gotta watch it,
Yeah,
otherwise
yeah.
people are gonna be asking me, did you see it? And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Do you even Beatle
Are you even
fan?
a fan?
Exactly. Okay, here we go. Favorite coffee of choice?
Ooh, like coffee shop or just type of coffee?
Well, just coffee, like a brand, like say it like at your house. What's the one that you're gonna?
I would say, well, favorite like type of any like pour over. I love a good pour over. Ethiopian coffees are probably my favorite.
Nice.
I love Ethiopian coffees, like fruity, like just love those. At my house, because we have kids and it's crazy, and I don't have time to do a pour over every morning. I wish I did. We just do a pot, and it's just whatever we buy.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ethiopian coffees is.
It's funny. That's the exact same thing that Park Cottrell said.
Really?
Yeah, that's his favorite.
Nice. Yeah, they're so good.
Yeah. What about favorite coffee shop? And obviously it can be here, but is there specifically one somewhere across the country that like sticks out to you?
Onyx Coffee Roasters from Arkansas. So that's where we lived when I was in Arkansas, was Bentonville and Rogers, and that's where Onyx was started. So I was there when they first started it and saw it just absolutely explode. And so that's my favorite. I absolutely love it. But gosh, there's so many. I mean, around here, I love Hank's. They're in Franklin. They just opened up a Columbia location.
Yeah.
In the Arts Building. Bradley Mountain's awesome.
Yeah,
again, Columbia. I'm in Spring Hill, so kind of that area is where I normally go.
Yeah.
But man, you can't go wrong. Like
I know.
I used to live in Kingston Springs, like west of the city. I used to go to Sump a lot.
Okay.
I love Sump coffee. They're really good.
Yeah.
No shortage of coffee around here.
Oh no, for sure. I'm a big fan of Muletown, so they've got a great little location there on the square in Columbia. I'm hoping
Fanning's Goat.
Yeah, Fanning Goat.
Fanning Goat's great.
You and I have had coffee there.
Yeah, we have.
Times, so. That's awesome. Let's see. And then, okay, like on your phone, Spotify or Apple Music, whatever you do, what is like something that you're currently listening to right now?
Ooh. So I am making my way through Led Zeppelin. I know we just talked about it.
Okay, yeah.
After watching that documentary, I'm kind of listening to that.
Yeah.
More. Steven Wilson Jr.
Okay.
He is kind of, country singer-songwriter. He's incredible writer, incredible songwriter. So I love his album. That's really good. I'm kind of all over the place. Like we didn't really talk. I mean, we didn't get into this. But like college was very I listened and played to a ton of gospel. like black
Oh,
gospel, like Fred Hammond, Israel Houghton.
nice.
I mean, so much. And so that I kind of make my way towards that some. Of course, the bass in those are always incredible. So
Yeah.
that's probably why,
Which can help translate sometimes to some of the stuff you're doing with Zach, some of those
absolutely. Yeah.
solo breakdowns that y'all do.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
Yeah, where I play too many notes. Yeah.
All up here, dude.
Yep. I love that stuff. But, and of course, a lot of the times, I wish I had more time just to listen to what I wanted to, but it's a lot of times it's Forrest Frank and it's Ann Wilson and Toby Mac, because that's what my kids want to listen to. So.
Oh, true. Yeah. That.
I'm listening to a lot of stuff they want to listen to in the car.
Yeah. Yep. That is very true. It's the same for me. We hop in the car and my daughter's like, oh, I want to put this on or whatever. And so I'm listening to whatever they're listening. If that, but so then really the only time I'm getting to listen is like if I'm by myself.
Yep.
So
absolutely.
One of the things though that helped me, and I was talking about this before, is I think SiriusXM had a thing was like $9.99 a month to sign up, because although I still listen to, Spotify a lot, one of the biggest things that I ran into was just this like pit of I couldn't get out of listening to the same things over and over. And it's like I get in my car and I just put the exact same things on. I was like, and it's so hard for me to get out of that rut. So with this, it's kind of cool because of the different channels. You can pick a genre and it's like a radio, but except that there's no
curated to,
and it's curated to that. So like one I was talking about last episode, one of the stations I've been listening to and absolutely loving is their yacht rock station.
Yeah. Hey, dude, I love me some yacht rock, man.
Oh my goodness. It is so good. That Michael McDonald, all that stuff. It's I'm like
Billy Joel and just whatever, man. Yeah.
Yeah. It is really good. And like some of that stuff too, like Steely Dan, all those Jackson Brown. I'm like, I forget how good some of those bassists were. And how like intricate some of the parts were. It just was like I'll listen to it and I'll be going, gosh dang, these guys didn't play around.
No. The guy that plays for, I can't remember, Paul Simon, the guy that plays for him.
Yeah.
I cannot remember his name to save my life right now. But like, all of his stuff that he was doing with Paul Simon was incredible. I mean, yeah. There's so much good stuff.
So anyway, that's been kind of fun for me to like get me to listen to other things.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I'm just like, just Colony House.
Yeah. Yep.
That, although they are like, my, when I go to mow the lawn, they're my like mow the lawn music.
Go to,
Yeah.
Yep. Eagles are, I think I'm wearing their shirt. Yep. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Big Eagles fan.
Oh,
I can't believe I forgot to say that, but yeah, big Eagles fan. So they're a lot of times one of the ones that I always go back to.
That's awesome. And talking about some bass lines are incredible, man.
So good.
And they're one of those groups that are on that yacht rock station a lot too. So it's perfect.
Yep.
So as we close up here, I wanted to ask you, where can people like connect with you, or like if they want to follow you, you know, just see what you're doing, whatever.
Yeah. So on all the social media, at Brandon Robold. And then, for like, I have a specific like real estate Facebook page. That's Brandon Sells Tennessee, or Brandon Sells TN, but really like, connect with me, send me a DM on Instagram, and I would say Instagram and Facebook. I'm pretty active.
Nice.
But send me a DM and love to connect with, whoever.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
That's how we first became friends. So
that's true. Exactly. And then if anybody's moving here, if they're listening to this and they're like, hey, we're going to be moving to Nashville, now you know who you can talk to about your real estate.
That's right. Hit me up.
Yeah. Heck yeah. Well, dude, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. It was really a lot of fun getting to hear some of your story. A few things in there even that I didn't know. So just from us hanging out. So I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on, man. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Had a lot of fun.
Cool, man. All right. Well, appreciate it. Take care.
All right. You too. CJ.
See ya. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Worship Based Coffee Studios. That was a really great interview. I really enjoyed getting to spend that time with Brandon. Felt like the times that he and I have gone and hung out for coffee. So that was a great, and I learned a few things myself, especially my favorite part had to be when he talked about how he started playing the bass all over a girl, which is awesome. So, anyway, like the last podcast, I wanted to end on a spiritual note, so to speak. And I thought I would read this thing from a guy who has his own page. It's called The Tone Shepherd. And it's a electric guitar resource for worship. And I discovered him on Instagram, started following him, and I thought, you know what? I would be looking through his posts and stuff, and I came across this one, and it was very meaningful to me. And so with some people, you may be in a smaller church where maybe you don't have this huge lobby area or whatever, but I still feel like this can still be relatable. So I thought I would read this post that he did. It said, "The lobby is your real stage." And it says the lobby is one of a few great places where you can prove you believe what you're singing on stage. It's a place where you have the opportunity to touch the very people you say you want to connect with Jesus. So instead of rushing to pack up your gear after the service, why not chill, make an effort to walk off the front of the stage and mingle? Mingling is ministry. Uh, and then here's another thing. He said, I sure hope that you attend the church that you play at when you're not scheduled to be on the team. And I sure hope that you praise the Lord as fervently from your chair as you do on the platform. And he said, because the congregation sees you praise with equal fervor on and off the stage, they can trust what you're doing up there isn't an act. And that goes a long way in gaining their trust to follow your lead while you're up there. So anyway, I just wanted to share that. That was very meaningful to me because to be honest, sometimes I had that within me to want to hang out in our green room or hang out on stage and talk to the other musicians, which is great too, because that's ministry too, getting to find out how things are going on in their lives. But I also felt like that was a thing on me. And so I was like, I want to do that myself. And so I've made it a point. Hey, as soon as that first, we do 3 services at our church. So a 9, 11, and then a 4 o'clock. And after the 9 and 11, I try to book it out there, even if all I do is just say, hey, hi to people, and just, being seen out there as well as up on the stage. And it's been great. There's been a few times where I've gotten to know people where I probably wouldn't have had I not gone out there and done that. So I just wanted that to be a little bit of encouragement to you at your church, wherever you're at, to make that effort. So anyway, that's all the time we got for today. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for listening. If you've listened through the episodes, I cannot begin to tell you how much I appreciate it coming along with me on this journey. And we're continuing to build this community for something good for the Lord. And I hope you all enjoy it. And remember, tell someone you love them, and we'll see you next time.